Hello everyone. Today I'm going to explain few of the interview questions. This interview question might be fewer like basics, fewer like with the 2-3 year experience, someone into a rollout project and implementation and some kind of customization done, right? For them, this like I can say for 1 to 3 years experience, these kind of questions you may expect from in the interview. Just generally we have put up these questions based on the inputs from different aspirants from the interview perspective. Let me put let me go one by one questions, like I'll just try to answer all the questions here with my experience. Okay, so the first question is like what are your roles and responsibilities in the implementation or rollout project? What exactly you can say. It's again, how do you manage, how you managed in the project, like how you managed to gather all the business requirements or design solutions, right? Like during if it is ASAP methodology, if you have done ECC implementation, then different process. And if you have been to S4 HANA implementation of 1909 or 2020 or 2021, then you will have a different scope and different phases. I don't want to add all the phases in this for this question, but I can elaborate like what are the steps to be followed and majorly covered. Um, Initially, yeah, business requirement and how to go with the solution, like design solution. Then if anything required like proof of concept, then developing the same and conducting the design document and build document. Then if any CRP to be created, conference room filelet, as per the requirement, you have to create all that. Then design configuration customization to meet the business process design and application requirement. Then configuring the required configuration in the system as for the design solution. And during the explore phase, I can say there you may find gap and all, which is like we are identifying the RISE-FW objects, whether it is report or interface, conversion, enhancement, form, or workflow. These are the identification. We'll identify and we'll work on that. Then participate in testing in all RISE-FW and objects, and then completing all the appropriate documentation. Example, configuration rationale document or configuration build document, and preparation of functional specifications. All that involves, right? Test script. So that and all rest, like you can tell like what exactly have involved and what is your role in the project. And in the rollout project, definitely you can talk about somewhere data migration activities, whether you have involved in data migration or any other team has taken care of the data migration activity. Okay, then have you done any customization in the implementation time? If yes, definitely give some examples. What are all the customization you have done in the system? How do you manage to configure? How do you collected the information from the business? And how you mapped it and got it? How much time you have taken to map all the configuration requirement? That you have to give a brief detail on that. Have you been involved in go live phase? If yes, then explain how do you managed go live phase and what are the challenges you faced during this phase and what is your contribution, roles, etc., etc. You can explain in few lines. This be specific on that whenever you're saying anything about go live and how many days it took for you and everything you can explain. Have you worked on in the LSW? If yes, any object you have loaded into the system, if you have gone through any mock, like in development and quality and production, different mocks will be there, whether you have involved in all the mocks, and have you connected with the business to map all the data into a Excel and all that you can explain. Then do you have been involved in the stock upload in the go live phase? If yes, then which mock you have involved and which tool you use to upload the data, whether it is LSMW or LTMC tool. You should explain that. Explain the process of new material type creation. Definitely, this is like before going to explain this, what is the process, you should give a little insight about why you have got this material type creation, anything business looking for the changes, and what are all the how you can see that difference between standard and customized material type, and what all things you have to take care of during the material type creation, internal number range, external number range, field selections, all these things you should keep in mind, or any removal of views, or adding of any views to that, or combining any multiple views for that customized material type. Everything you have to keep in mind based on the business requirement. You cannot blindly create some material type without business input, and you cannot ask like technically all this data from business. You have to go with a layman language, like it's a simple word. You can ask, okay, how you manage this material, this data, are you okay with this existing, or are you looking for anything customized material type? Then what is subcontracting PO, and can we able to create a PO without entry of components? Definitely, subcontracting PO, you all know, we supply the goods like raw material to a subcontractor, and then they will uh, convert that raw material to a semi-finished or finished. It depends on the final goods, and they'll deliver back to our premise. Without entering components, you cannot create any subcontracting PO, because meaningless. If you say it's possible, then how? Definitely it is. Subcontracting means definitely we are adding the components in the PO. If you're not adding in the PO level manually, you can maintain through a BOM, bill of material, that can be explored during the PO creation time. And what is the item category for subcontracting? Definitely it's L, and you should know what is item category L for subcontracting. Which price rate will come in the subcontracting PO? See, subcontracting PO is what? It's amount of subcontracting service charge, right? How much services subcontractor is looking for, and that we are going to maintain in the purchase order line item level. So it is not about any material cost, because the component we are going to give, that is cost in our we only pay for that which is ordered from any other vendor. So the total cost of components will be there separately, that is not added in the total price of the subcontracting. It is only the services you can see in the PO, and from where it is going to fetch. um, if you want to enter manually, you can enter manual price, or you can maintain the subcontracting purchase info record, where you can maintain the, okay, this vendor, this final goods, if you want, then what is the cost, right? You're going to maintain the PR combination, the cost from that system will fetch the service that cost. Do you know tables for material vendor and PO? If they ask just do you know, then you can say yes. If they ask, okay, just list out few tables, then you should tell Mara, Marci, Mardi, MBW for material master. This is the main tables which stores all the data. Mara is general data, Marci is plant level, Mardi is store location level, and MBW is accounting level. And vendor will have a 3 levels, like general data, company code level, and purchasing organization level. Then we have it 3 tables. And for the PO, you have a header level EKKO, and this is account assignment data will be stored in EKKN, and this is for item level data, and EKB is for the purchase order history. Do you know about the consignment business process? Then definitely, if you know the consignment business process, just explain the standard process. Don't link with SAP. If interviewer asks like give me more detail about in SAP how do you manage, then you should give SAP related terminology, like how you manage this vendor consignment process, and what are the item category to be maintained, whether purchase info record is mandatory or not. In the consignment, definitely it's mandatory to be maintained, because if you don't have any info record, it is difficult for you to settle the consignment value after you issue the goods to a order or cost center or any project, or if you move the stock from your vendor stock to our own stock, definitely you have to settle the amount. Then you should know the process of consignment, what exactly we do in the consignment business process, how the vendor will take care of the material without, will not pay anything when they supply the goods, and when exactly, in which case we normally go for vendor consignment. It's bulk procurement, and most of the consignment material have seen is it is C material, C grade material, the cost will be less. And instead of purchasing here and all 100, 200 quantity, we will take it as 1000, 5000 quantity, and they will keep in our premise. And whenever it is required, then we will be consuming it, and that can be settled based on the transaction, like not based on the based on the consumption. We will just settle the cost of that material through a transaction code called MRKO. So if they only look for any consignment process, just give a process wise experience, and you should use word like, as you know, the process is like this, and if you take into SAP, then this is a process to be followed. Okay, like that you can explain in a couple of lines. What is important steps before a consignment settlement? I did not answer. I think this is the prerequisite. What are all things to be maintained to this consignment, like purchase info record to be maintained, and definitely there will be a material number to be managed for the respective plant, and purchase organization you will be managing this purchase info record. And for the vendor, you should know who is the vendor to supply the goods, and you should create the vendor master. Then in the PO level, we will not enter any price. Okay, the price will be taking from the purchase info record. In the purchase info record, we have to maintain mandatory price and tax related fields to be maintained. And in the matter master, we can choose a special procurement key, like whether it is a consignment or whether it is subcontracting, all that. So if you want to generate any purchase requisition automatically, consignment purchase info record, purchase requisition, then definitely that is going to help. Will account entry trigger in GR creation of consignment? No, definitely no. There is no accounting document. Different movement types: 101, 261, 541. What exactly this movement type? 101 is for goods received against purchase order, 261 for goods issued against order, and goods issued to the subcontractor respectively. These three are the movement type. How many hierarchies we have? We can give an a strategy. This is something strange question. I'm not sure like what is the hierarchy asked here. GRIV checkbox in the PO screen. What is the difference between unchecking and checking the checkbox? Yeah, definitely this GRIV checkbox, if you do, then definitely it's like, until unless you are not doing GR, you cannot post the invoice. Okay, in which case we generally manage. I'll give a simple example. For the subcontracting order, definitely you have to do this GRIV checkbox, because if you are not doing GR, it is not good to do the invoice. Okay, in case you are regularly getting some material from a vendor, and GR is not mandatory to do, and then okay, you can just uncheck and invoice can be posted, and later you can do the GR also. Okay, if you check this GRIV check, then definitely GR to be posted, then only invoice can be done later at stage. And in some cases, like physically a material is not reaching your premise, but you have to pay before invoice to the vendor, then definitely you have to go with unchecking this GRIV checkbox. Maybe imported vendor, they want to pay invoice first, and then goods will be supplied, and then you can receive the GR for that. What kind of business operations and how do they handle? Okay, this is about the, again, you can explain based on your experience. What are all the client you had in your business process, and how do you supported them? What are the business process they had in P2P side, whether they had any direct procurement, indirect procurement, and then subcontracting, STO, stock, this thing, consignment, or whether they have any this pipeline or any RTP process, third party business process. Okay, these are all the process you should know. You should able to explain all that business process. What is a manufacturing process? How they are dealing with this? Manufacturing is the process. Like if you talk about any turning a raw materials to a semi-finished or finished goods through the use of tools or human labor, machinery, and chemical processing. It depends on the conversion of some raw material to a finished, and you're reaching that to the customer. So this is a completely manufacturing. If someone asks what is manufacturing, you should have some rough picture about, at least you can give some example of converting a steel bar of hexagon bar of some meter, and you want like 100 pieces of you have to do that. Then you have to go for a turning process, then facing, then knurling, and hexagonal head will be there. You have to manage that nut. You have to produce some nut out of that. Then you should tell all the process, what all the process it will go through, and how you get the finished product out of that raw material. Why do they want to roll out the company to a different location? It depends. Like if there is expansion of um, business, and your business is something different, and you have to deal business separately, and you don't want to combine with the existing business activities, which is having one company code, and you want to create another company code in different countries, or you want to create some plant under existing company code, and which is in different city and state you're expanding, and or some cases your warehouse is little smaller in current space place, and if you expand, then that will be higher cost, and you want to shift that warehouse to another location, then there you will be treating it as a plant. Then definitely it is called rollout. You're copying the data from different plant to a new plant, and then you're mapping according to their according to that requirement. Okay, pricing procedure, rollout project, how they are handling, where it will trigger, whether they are using two pricing procedure. It depends again. This is again how you customize pricing procedure. If anything domestic or import pricing, then you should know what all the condition type to be maintained, and whether you have to combine any vendors. Okay, these vendors are domestic, these vendors are import, then how do you differentiate, where you maintain the schema group in the vendor master, and how do you link that schema group with the purchasing organization, and then pricing procedure. Okay, I have 50 vendors, 25 are domestic, 25 are import vendors, then how do I get this pricing procedure for these domestic and import? That all things you can customize accordingly in SAP. There will be a price difference in Bangalore and Hyderabad. How the pricing will triggering in this price difference? Again, it is achieved by different pricing procedure. Or if you think about different plant, you have the material is same, then you have to maintain the pricing of one material in Bangalore is this much cost, and in Hyderabad this much cost. Like that, you can maintain separate price, or you can go with the split valuation if the prices are different in Bangalore and Hyderabad for the same material, but different kind of like some kind of new material or old material, there will be a price difference. Okay, then definitely you can work out on split valuation for that material. Can you list the transaction entry keys for subcontracting and explain one scenario? Okay, this is a very good question. You should know what all the keys are going to trigger, and I've given a simple example of subcontracting process in Indian currency. Example, you think about your component cost is 100 INR and subcontracting charge is 40 INR. This is the charge. Then what all the movement will be there? 101 and 543. 101 for finished goods and 543 for the component which you're going to receive. In the sense, component which is already supplied and you're not going to receive again, right? It get nullified. The stock will get nullified when you are talking about 543. See here, 101 is for the finished goods, and components will be consumed with the movement type 543. And how this debit and credit, DR is debit and CR is credit, and BSX will be the total stock of the assembled goods, means the 100, the cost of the component, and service charge is 40, and total finished goods you're going to receive, which has total value of this much. And BSV is the change in subcontracting stock. Okay, many people will have have a confusion with this. What is this BSV? BSV is like, during subcontracting, we receive the goods, right? System force the amount from the stock account to the stock change in account. Okay, this is the account which definitely hit with the CR, means 140 DR will be there. This 140 CR credit. Okay, and FRL is the service charges, subcontracting charges, which is plus now debit, because later you have to clear with this GRIR clearance will be there 40 CR. Okay, and if there is a one component, then you will find two entries like BSX and GBB with BBO general modifier, and in case you have two components, then there will be 4 entries. Total I can say 6 in case of one component, and if there are two components, then 4 plus 2 plus 2 8. And this is the offsetting entry, because GBB will come into picture where we are going to issue the goods to a subcontractor, right? Then it's consumption of account, that is 100 DR, and this is the component which we are supplying. So the inventory will be going out of our stock, right? That's why CR. Okay. Example, imagine when you receive the stock without any reference to a purchase order, like if you do 501 movement, right? Then you would have seen BSX and GB will come into picture, not with BPO. BPO is for subcontracting one. And there you can see 100 DR for the BSX, and GBB will be 100 CR, like that. Okay. Types of purchase organization, there are like 5 types of purchase organization. One is centralized, plan specific, cross company code, standard, and reference. If they ask only this much, you just answer this much only. If they dig out, okay, what are all this detail, can you explain each and every purchase organization, then you should explain all the different type of purchase organization with examples. What is info record? This is a simple question which stores information of material and vendor, which that like vendor is going to supply that material. Why we are going to maintain all this data? If example vendor is having current price of the particular material which is stored in the info record, and this purchase info record can be maintained at the plant level or at the purchasing level. It depends on the requirement. Okay, what is source list? See, source list includes list of possible sources of supply for a material or a given framework of time. Like you can maintain multiple sources in a single activity. Like in the sense you are going to maintain a material with respect to a plant. Like, okay, this is the combination of material and plant, and then you are going to enter the ME01 transaction SAP, and then you are maintaining the vendor with a specified time. Like example, I want to procure something from the March 1st to 31st with one vendor, and then April I have to go with another vendor. So you can maintain the sources with the specified date. Okay, and source list can be copied from one plant to another plant also. Example, you are maintaining, okay, there's this sources for one plant for one material, and you have that material in another 10 plants, then you can copy that. Subcontracting movements, these are the movement type are there. 541 when you're issuing the goods to subcontractor, and this is the final goods we are going to receive, or final or semi-finished. And 543 is just it is getting nullified, the stock which is given to vendor, which will be showing as vendor stock, and when you receive the final goods, it get nullified. If you go to MMB, that stock will be disappeared. And 545 for the scrap. What is physical inventory process? This is quite common in an organization where they find difference in the physical stock and SAP stock, then definitely it should be adjusted accordingly. And then once physical inventory process is completed, then the system stock and physical stock levels must be the same. Handling of invoice taxes, there are two taxes are there, indirect taxes and withholding taxes. So it depends on the process. Like like this is majorly taken care by finance team, and even the material management person has knowledge about this taxes and all. It is always good to talk to a client before we map all the detailed information in SAP. Types of procurement, if they ask any types of procurement, you can say direct and indirect procurement. If they ask detailed information, what is direct procurement, what is indirect procurement, then again you should explain. Direct procurement is for what? Stock material, and indirect procurement is for non-stock material. What are the types of stock? Validated stock, non-validated stock, and special stock. Okay, so the different type of stocks are there. Then what is the difference between blocked and GR blocked stock? It look the word there's no much difference, people think, but there is huge difference between normal block stock and GR block stock. See, normal block stock is what? If something in the production line or the quality inspection, when you're testing something, you may find some material got rejected and you push that material to a block stock. Okay, in case of goods receipt time, okay, there will be a conditionally you are going to accept the material, but you don't want to do a GR for that completely. You are going to move that stock to GR block stock. Sometimes vendors supply excess material and before delivery date, so you cannot receive that, but somehow you have to store in your location, and you're moving that stock to a block stock. Later, if it is damaged also, they'll come and rework it, the material in our premise, and then that can be moved to our own stock. It takes some time. Decision will be done after some time. That's why we'll move to a GR block stock. What is stock transfer process and what are the different types of STO? STO, you know, right? You are just transferring the material from one plant to another plant, or location to location, and plant to plant with the same company code, or plant to plant with different company code. That's called stock transfer order. And there are different types of STOs are there. Like you can manage STO between plants in one step or two steps. And there will be a scenario like you have to manage STO with delivery, without delivery. With delivery means you'll be shipping will be there. And if you are talking about inter STO, then definitely STO with delivery and with billing document. Okay, so there are 5 types are there. Okay, any experience in handling of foreign clients? If yes, definitely say yes, I have experience of foreign clients. So they may ask few questions about how you got all the experience and how which company, what are all the process you have managed. Is it are you comfortable to manage any foreign clients? All that experience they may ask, you have to give proper explanation for that. Release strategy process. Generally, if they ask what is release strategy process, or if they ask particularly, okay, what is purchase release strategy, or purchase order release strategy, or contract release strategy, or service PO release strategy, you should understand the question properly, then you should answer it. This is general question. What is release strategy process? Which approval process for a purchase requisition or external document, purchase document, where necessary release codes are specified, and that will be released in a sequence. Okay, so example, you talk about the buyer is going to create a PO, and there will be senior buyer, then there will be a purchasing head, VP, CEO, like that, or whatever hierarchy that will be defined in the system, and the based on the total value or whatever it is, like there will be characteristics maintained, and that will be released. So once it is released, then only that will be going out from our system. Like if it is a PO, or if it is a contract or service fee, or whatever it is, it's all external document that will be shared with the vendor. If it is purchase requisition, it is for internally. If there are many purchase requisitions are really raised, and somewhere you want to see that PR why it is created, and if it is not required, then you can delete it or you can release it accordingly. How do you create characteristics? And it's a whether it's a configuration data. It's a very good question. Using CT04 transaction, you can create a characteristics, and whether it is a like how it is created based on the requirement. If there are many characteristics to be maintained, whether it is for release or whether it is for batch, there are many characteristics we have to create based on the different requirement. Okay, and it's not a configuration data, it's a master data. Directly you can maintain this in the production. In addition to this, if anyone asks like whether class is a creation of class is a configuration data, it's not configuration. Even that also master data. Characteristics and class both are master data, and even classification data which you are going to maintain, that you can maintain directly in the production. It's not recorded in a CR, customization request creation. Or what is batch management? Batch management is like what? If you consider any manufacturing vendor is supplying some goods and it is manufactured on today's date, and they have manufactured for 50 quantity in one time, then definitely they are putting some batch number over there. This is this batch, and if something goes wrong in future, okay, you receive the material with that batch number details, everything with the material number, then you can relate something even after supplying the when you reach that material to a customer, and if they reject and if they send back, and then you can track it which batch you have received from which vendor, then you can return back to the vendor and they can settle the amount, or they can rework and they can give back. That's why it is always good batch management process. And in case of you are talking about any daily consumable materials, FMCGs and all, right? So definitely that is having a batch, and expiry date, shelf life, everything you can track, you can update in the SAP system. What is scheduling agreement? It is a long-term outline agreement between vendor and the ordering party over predefined material or services which are procured on predefined dates. Like example, you want to get some material on 5th of March, sorry, 7th of March. Some material you want 10th or you want 14th. You can go with the day wise also. You can go with the weekly basis, or you can go with the time also. Example, 7th of March, I want 10 quantity in the morning 10 a.m. and 15 quantity in the 3 p.m. So I don't want to keep all the material in my stock. Whenever I want, I can just schedule it and you can supply, and I'll receive it. Like that, there will be agreement will be done, and there is no purchase order will be created for this scheduling agreement in SAP directly. You create a scheduling agreement, then you can release the schedule lines based on the requirement, and then you can do the GR directly. What is contracts? Contract is like a long-term agreement with the vendor for a certain period of time. Example, I want 1 year contract, I want to go with 2 year contract, 5 years contract with that particular vendor. Then you can sign a contract with the vendor, and you can get the material accordingly. And there are two types of contracts are there. One is like quantity contract, another is value contract. So it's not required. If they ask only contract, you just explain what is contract. If they ask again more questions, what is quantity, what is value, you just keep on explaining that. Then what is service procurement and types? Service procurement are meant for direct consumption instead of keeping them in inventory. It's kind of services you're going to take care of. Example, you take simple example of AC services or floor cleaning services, or you go for paint services, or you want to do some services for the machineries, whatever it is. So you just raise the order to the vendor, and they do the activity of services, and there is no GR happens or goods receipt happens for that services. You are going to create a service entry sheet in the system, and that service entry sheet is like settled, like you are going to invoice based on the services done. And how do you refer the service record and all? You can create service master for that services. From there you can refer the service master record when you're creating the purchase order. What are the different types of services? One is planned services, another is unplanned services. What is planned services? Example, you just imagine time of service, like specification you maintain, like the quantity and price, everything advanced. Okay, and it means nature and scope of services is clear before like service procurement. But in unplanned services, the quantity and price are not known in advance. It means nature and scope is of service is not very clear. It's not clear, but you can go with this unplanned services with some vendor, and you can extend also services as per the requirement. What is inter and intra company process handling? This is again, inter is like between two company codes. If you want to do any supply of material from one plant to another plant which coming under different company code, then it's inter-STO. The company code which is having plants, single company code, you have multiple plants or two plants are there, then you're going to do a transfer from one plant to another plant stocks, then it's a intra-STO process. What are the movement types in STO process? I just mentioned a few movement here, which is generally used: 601, 641, 643, 645, 647, 101. Okay. Maximum levels of release we can we do like in a release strategy, like 8 levels. Should the price of the components in condition like described be equal to the net price of the finished product? This is a question, like whether the price of the components, okay, is equal to the net price. No, it's in the subcontracting PO, whatever amount is given PO line, that is service charge, subcontracting process charge. The price in the PO should be processing charge that you have to pay to the vendor. So the material value on the GR will be the processing charges plus the cost of the components provided. GR only you can find the total cost, but in the PO only service charge will be there in the net price. Okay, this is all. These are the questions we have received, and in upcoming days we are going to plan to add more questions, interview questions, and we will try to answer all your questions, which will help many to prepare accordingly. And because even after getting so many years of experience in some process, you will struggle to explain some scenarios and all. So these document may help you, and we are going to upload this document in our page, tag skills. So please follow us in LinkedIn. So regularly we will be uploading this document in our page, and also we are planning to upload this all the documents in tag skills app. We are going to load this app soon in Android and iOS mobile, so you can just search PDF document in app. You can get this and you can read whenever you want. And we have plenty of like plans for different technology to expand. So definitely you just follow our channel and LinkedIn, and web page is not yet up, and once it is up we will update you, and from there you can create your profile based on your requirement. We will be supporting you. Thank you.